So the third element of faith is to wish to be born in the Pure Land for the attainment of perfect enlightenment. Okay, so it's very important for us to understand that when we wish to go to the Pure Land, we are wishing to go there not to go for a vacation or not to go there to have fun. We go there because we want to attain Buddhahood. We want to attain Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, which is the objective of Buddhism. Okay, Yosho Sensei says here a quote that is very to the point. He says, "The goal of the Buddha Dharma is to become a Buddha, not to paint this life in different colors, not to become a smart or interesting kind of Buddhist, but to become a Buddha. The Buddhist path is not a method of relaxation or a tablet for a headache, something like how can we become happier and calmer people, or a recipe for momentary happiness, but a road to Buddhahood or complete freedom for us and all beings." Okay, so many temples and Buddhist organizations around the world, the kind of Buddhist door or tricycle kind of guys, these magazines, they have all smiley monks, people attaining Satori or enlightenment or whatever, because they think that Buddhism is like a very interesting kind of self-help, interesting philosophy created by a prince 26 centuries ago. These are very interesting psychology tips. Okay, but this is nothing could be further from the truth. Actually, Shakyamuni Buddha himself described himself as the teacher of gods and men. Yes, he's actually praised by all the devas. He came here to liberate us from the cycle of birth and death. Okay, so when we're talking about the Dharma, we're talking about transcendental matters, not about pitiful, things about psychology, which have nothing to do in common with the transcendental things that the Buddha mentioned. Okay, so this is very important for us to understand. We want to go to the Pure Land to be liberated once and for all suffering. Yes, and we also want to do it for the sake of our loved ones and for the sake of all beings in the universe, to become a Buddha with perfect wisdom and perfect compassion. That is very different, no? Miles away from this kind of modernist or secular attitude towards Buddhism that wants to tell you that Buddhism is, a recipe for being a more efficient worker or whatever. This kind of stuff, maybe they are related to some kind of Buddhist flavor or some kind of practices that could make you maybe a better person, but to try to reduce Buddhism to this is, of course, it doesn't make any sense. Yes, if you truly study the sutras. Okay, so as Yosho Sensei says here, it is of utmost importance for those who enter the Buddhist path to have the aspiration to become a Buddha. Without this aspiration, there is no Buddhism. Okay, so the objective of the Buddha Dharma is not to become a good Buddhist, but to become a Buddha, which is infinitely more important than becoming just a regular practitioner. Okay, without this aspiration, there is no Buddha Dharma, there is no Buddhism. If we don't want to, or we don't feel the urgency of complete freedom from the many sufferings of repeated births and deaths in samsara, then Buddhism will remain for you, as Yosho Sensei says here, only an intellectual topic. Yes, okay? Like the student that was referring to you here. For him, Buddhism was only something to impress people in cocktail parties. Oh yes, what Nagarjuna Buddha said, like you want to sound sophisticated. If that is Buddhism for you, then this is only an intellectual topic for you, but you are actually not a Buddha Dharma follower. You have not taken refuge in the three jewels. Okay, so for us, we want to go to the Pure Land because we want to attain enlightenment, and enlightenment entails or supposes the freedom of all repeated births and deaths in the 6 realms of samsara, and to attain the compassion and wisdom that only Buddhas have. Okay, to know all of your past lives, to know all of the past lives of the beings in the universe, to have the 3 Buddha bodies and all of the great capacities of the Buddha nature that are beyond the Ganges, the number of the Ganges river to count. So many incredible spiritual powers that Buddhas have. And we will have that in the Pure Land. So the Pure Land is very far away from being a mundane heaven of samsara, in which beings, that those places truly exist, and places where people go there and they praise the devas, and they think that the devas there are the creators of the universe, and they constantly worship them. You're amazing, you're amazing. And that's the only thing they do. Or maybe they go to places where they can meditate in the Rupa Dhatu. and they don't care about the people, the problems of people, and they constantly meditate there, like a constant vacation or being asleep, and then they fall again to samsara. This is not a Pure Land. A Pure Land is a place where you go to attain enlightenment. The Pure Land of Amida Buddha is the most important Pure Land of them all. You go there to the Amida Buddha's Pure Land to attain enlightenment and for the sake of all living beings, to lead them towards enlightenment, to fulfill the Mahayana vows. Okay? So to aspire to become a Buddha is fundamental, but this aspiration remains just an unfulfilled desire, as Josho says here. Like many others, if our spiritual capacities cannot lead us to this goal. Okay, so we want to become Buddhas, but we lack the resources to attain Buddhahood on our own. This is like a person who wants to swim to, I don't know, to another continent. He says that, okay, I want to reach this continent, but I don't have the power to swim there or to walk there. What can I do? Okay. So this is when the primal vow of Amida Buddha comes. If you lack the capacities to attain Buddhahood, then this wish for attaining Buddhahood will remain like a pipe dream, okay? Like they say, or will remain like some kind of fantasy. Wouldn't it be great if I would become a Buddha? But I cannot attain Buddhahood. Okay, so then you have to have another option that is not to rely on your own capacities, but to rely on the capacities of Amida Buddha himself. Okay. So Josho Sensei gives here the analogy of unenlightened beings in samsara are like seeds dropped in an infertile soil. Okay, so all of us have the capacity to become trees of enlightenment. Okay, but if you are left at the mercy of evil karma here in samsara, where there are not good nutrients, okay, then you won't become a tree, but you will become you will keep being born here in samsara without being able to truly blossom into a lotus or to truly blossom into a beautiful tree of enlightenment, because you don't have the ingredients of compassion, wisdom, morality, precepts in order for you to become a Buddha. Actually, if you take a look, the first thing that the Buddha established when he came here was a sangha, yes, and established centers for Buddhist practice, for people to go away from society and dedicate themselves towards the Dharma, because that is the first thing you have to do. Yes, you have to establish a place in which and you can practice the Buddha Dharma without being interrupted by mundane happenings or mundane events. Okay, so actually the Pure Lands of the Buddhas are a manifestation of this sincere wish for them to teach the Dharma in a place that is outside of samsara. And in the case of the center of Amida Buddha's Pure Land, it is not even a place of teaching. It is a place of enlightenment in which you go there and you attain enlightenment instantly, the same way that you can throw a piece of ice and you throw it into a big fire and it becomes water instantly. Okay, so this is the center of Amida Buddha's Pure Land. It's a place where our Buddha nature will be manifested instantly by the power of Amida Buddha, which is resembles like a great fire. Yes. Okay, this is actually one of the names of Amida Buddha, and Nokobu, the Buddha that is the Lord of the blazing light, and this is the light of enlightenment. If you are in the presence of Amida Buddha, you will become like him, and you will be benefited by the 48 vows. Okay.
One more thing, so that we can clarify for those who are watching us. When Kosho Sensei mentions, and I also mentioned, the center of the Pure Land is what Shinran said, the true fulfilled land of the Pure Land, in contrast with the borderland of the Pure Land.
Yeah.
Once you go to the borderland of the Pure Land, you don't become enlightened immediately. To the borderland go only those who still cling to their self-power. So practitioners of the 19th vow and the 20th vow, those go to the borderland, while followers of the 18th vow goes to the center of the Pure Land, or the true fulfilled land of the Pure Land, as Shinran said. Okay, please continue, Kosho.
Yes, I think that we will mention this in another question, no? I think it's by the end that we mention this, but yes, I think that a good analogy for you to have it very clear is like a house, like Joseph said. Like house has like a main room and has a waiting room, yes? So the main room is the center of the Pure Land, where Pure Land practitioners who have practiced according to the 18th vow, they go to this main room, and they are with the owner of the house, which is Amida Buddha himself. And the waiting room is for those who enter the Pure Land through the gate of the 19th and the 20th vow, which is actually a combination of self-power with the other power of Amida Buddha. So there is still like a mixture. Yes, these practitioners still feel that they went to the Pure Land 50% because of Amida and 50% because of them. And because of this pride, yes, actually one of the names of the borderland is the city of pride and sloth. Yes, and the city of doubt as well. Why? Is because they have doubt and pride. They doubt that Amida Buddha has all of the power to take them to the Pure Land, okay? And they also have pride because they think that some level of, or to a higher or lesser degree, some level of their own karmic merit is involved in this process and not Amida Buddha. So once they expiate those doubts and they expiate this kind of attitude towards Amida Buddha, they will fully be able to entrust themselves the same way that 18th vow practitioners do, in the same way that we followers of the primal vow do. And once they do that, they will also enter the center of the Pure Land and attain enlightenment. Okay?
Yes, and it's not like Amida says, okay, you go to the center and you stay here in the borderland. No,
yeah.
those practitioners of the 19th and 20th vows, they keep themselves on the hallway, on the borderland, on the waiting room. They are the ones who keep themselves there because of their doubts. It's a karmic effect of their doubts. Yes.
Yes, and just to end with this, because of course we will examine this topic in a whole session. It's more difficult to be born in the borderland, oddly enough. It's very difficult to be born in the borderland because in order to be born in the borderland, you have to be a very committed practitioner, say the Nembutsu all your life, do visualizations, transfer merits.
Say Nembutsu, and even die while saying Nembutsu. Say
Nembutsu
constantly, not just, so yes.
It's very difficult.
Some people end up in the borderland because they've been confused by teachers that weren't giving them the straight answers on what the Pure Land is about. They don't have any higher expectations than going to their Pure Land, where they're going to work their way up to being Buddhas. That to them, the Pure Land is about a faster track to being a Buddha, but it's still self-effort. You know, it's going to take less time to get there, but it's not a real faith-based Pure Land. I think a lot of teachers confuse people, even when they talk about the Pure Land, which some do. They don't give the right idea of what the Pure Land and faith in Amida Buddha is about, and it confuses people.
But they themselves don't have the faith of the primal vow, and there are many practices, not only in the Pure Land tradition, but also in Tibetan Buddhism, who also lead to practices related with Amida Buddha, who can also lead to birth in the borderland. That's what they can, that's what they know, that's what they can do. That's their limitation. So they do what they know. The like Poa practice, like various practices, mantras related with Amida Buddha and so on. All those, if they are practiced seriously, they lead to the borderland, not the true fulfilled land of the Pure Land or the center. Yes. It's still okay if they do that. But as long as they don't deny the existence of Amida Buddha and the Pure Land, it's okay. But those who deny the existence of Amida and the Pure Land, those people can't even reach the Pure Land. They go to hell.
Yes.
That's
No,
how grave it is.
Let's clarify that these provisional teachings are not incorrect in the sense of they are tailored for other kind of people. Yeah, it's not like the teachers have some kind of malicious attitude.
Yes.
I will make them born in the borderland and not the center. No, it's because they have this understanding that they see the Pure Land, as you said, Gregory, as like a great Nalanda university where they go and they say, okay, now I will practice there in this beautiful environment and I will be a good Buddhist there. This attitude is sometimes very sincere. They do believe that in the Pure Land they will be good Buddhists, and it's good if they still cannot entrust themselves to Amida Buddha, and they need so many varieties of practices to keep them interested in the Pure Land, because otherwise they can get bored. Then it's good that there is power practices. There is good that is the 19th and the 20th vow. Actually, the 19th and the 20th vow were invented by Amida Buddha himself. So there is a very deep reason for their existence, no, of these vows. So we should not be disrespectful towards these other Dharma gates that also want to go to the Pure Land. However, we should, as practices of the primal vow, we should entrust ourselves according to the 18th vow. And if the others are open to it, maybe you should mention it, okay? And if they are not open for it, they should follow them and follow other practices which are also designed to bring beings closer to Amida Buddha. But yes, we should understand that these provisional gates are there for a reason, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. So let's try to continue here. Yes, I wanted to mention a very beautiful quote by Master Shinran. No, he says, when a person has entered completely into the Pure Land of happiness, he or she immediately realizes the supreme nirvana. Of course, now that we have talked about this, thanks to Gregory's question, we know that this is the center of the Pure Land, no, not the borderland. Okay, he or she immediately realizes the supreme nirvana. He or she realizes the supreme enlightenment through the terms. Although the terms differ, says Shinran, they both mean to realize the enlightenment of the Buddha, who is the Dharma body, the ultimate Dharmakaya. It is stated in the larger sutra on Amida. It says, strive to escape from samsara. When you are born in the Pure Land of Amida Buddha, the 5 evil realms will be instantly destroyed, and those realms will naturally cease to be. You will progress unhindered in your pursuit of the way. The larger sutra states, then you will surely enter the Buddha's enlightenment and everywhere deliver beings from the river of birth and death. It is also stated, once you are born in the Pure Land, you will surely become world-honored ones, in other words, Buddhas, and deliver all beings from birth, old age, and death. The master of a Kuang Min temple, which is Master Shan Tao, he says, I say to all practitioners, abhor birth and death, the fate of ordinary beings, and do not cling to it. Aspire for Amida Buddha's Pure Land. Do not think lightly of it. If you abhor the Saha world, you will forever part from it. If you aspire for the Pure Land, you will eternally dwell in it. If you part from the Saha world, the causes of the 6 realms will cease to be, and the resultant states of transmigration in samsara will spontaneously perish. If the causes and the results cease to be, the forms and names of samsaric states will immediately be annihilated. In other words, we are like a piece of ice, yes, in Hirim Samsara, and once we are thrust into the presence of Amida Buddha, who is like a blazing fire, we will become one with the water of the Dharmakaya, okay? One with the water of the Dharmakaya, which is actually the heart and the mind of all Buddhas of the 3 times and the 10 directions, okay? So, in our case, as Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, we think that once we are born in the Pure Land, you cannot study your way into enlightenment. It will be like saying like the ice has to do some effort to become water. No, okay. The water becomes the ice becomes immediately water in the presence of fire. The fire is Amida Buddha's Sambhoga Kaya body. Once you are there, poof, you will become a Buddha like this. Okay. And this is no wonder, because actually the Buddha nature is still inside. It's not like Amida Buddha is giving us Buddha nature. We already have Buddha nature. The only thing is that it's covered by kleshas, it's covered by mental poisons. What Amida Buddha is doing is offering us his cleaning services. He's cleaning all of the things that we don't need. And he's destroying all of our evil passions. And once they are destroyed, then our true nature will emerge in the Pure Land. Okay, if you want to understand more about the relationship about Buddha nature and Jodo Shinshu, I highly recommend the book of Yosho Sensei, Simple Teachings on Buddha Nature and Emptiness and Buddha Nature. Yes, many people who have had, even Daigan Sensei himself and also other students in Latin America have greatly benefited from reading this book because many people nowadays have lots of confusion about Buddha nature and Shinjin and all of that. But I highly recommend that book. And we are going to actually mention that book in following videos. And of course,
one more thing. Sorry. I want to say something here about Shinran's statement that the 5 evil realms will be instantly destroyed and those realms will naturally cease to be. So that means that for the person who attains perfect enlightenment, it is like samsara does not exist because he no longer has any ignorance, attachments, or suffering. This is the idea. Okay, so it doesn't mean that you destroy the various worlds.
Yes.
Various samsaric universes.
You actually, what you destroy is your own delusion, and you start to see the universe as it truly is from the perspective of a Buddha.
So for you, it is like samsara doesn't exist. Of course, for the others, samsara is there, and you are able as a Buddha to go in the various realms of samsaric existence and guide those beings there to the Pure Land, to faith. Yes.
Okay, yes, indeed, Sensei, what we destroy is actually our own delusion, and for Buddhas, even if they are in hell or in any other realms of existence, they are always happy. Why? It's because they are enlightened.
Buddhas are the awakened ones. So Buddhas are those guys who stopped dreaming the dream of samsara. So they are able, as awakened persons, to go in the various dreams of various beings and to help them and guide them to awakening.
Yes, indeed. Once you are outside of the dream, then you are not affected by the dream. It's like a person who is outside of the jail.
The Pure Land is outside, is like a city of awakening. Is one of the cities of the awakened reality.
Yes. We could call it like the capital of the Buddhas.
Yes, the capital. Yes.
The capital. We are inside a jail, a very smelly jail in the dark, and there are beautiful cities outside. And the Pure Land is like the capital of those cities. You could say like this. The body-mind is the aspiration to attain perfect enlightenment or Buddhahood for saving oneself and all beings. But it is impossible to be fulfilled by self-power, as Shinran says. Shinran says like this, okay? He says the aspiration for enlightenment through self-power taught in the path of sages is beyond our minds and words. We foolish beings ever sinking in transmigration, how could we awaken it? Under the guidance of Buddhas who appeared in this world 3 times the sands of the Ganges in number, we awakened the aspiration for supreme enlightenment, but our self-power failed, and we continue to transmigrate. This is a very incredible teaching by Master Shinran, who says that actually we have maybe met the Dharma, yes, in many previous lives, but we are still here in samsara. Why? Because our determination was not sincere enough, because our self-power failed us, and we continue to transmigrate in the 6 realms of samsara. That is a very, very dire teaching. And it's actually in accordance with the teachings of Shakyamuni Buddha, of course, who said that in the past, we have been in samsara since the beginningless times, and many Buddhas have tried to help us, but we still didn't want to follow the Dharma. Okay, maybe we created some small connection, and that's why we are here. However, we continue to transmigrate. Okay, so how can we have this great body mind, this mind that aspires to attain enlightenment and save all sentient beings in the universe? This is a very lofty mind. Okay, and of course, Shinran says something that is very true. We cannot awaken this mind in ourselves through self-power. Okay. This is for other self-power paths, but for us, foolish beings who cannot even keep the precepts, who cannot even meditate, cannot even have real virtues and merits, how can we awaken such a lofty mind? Yes, if our minds are actually very foolish and very mundane. Okay, the answer to this can be found in Shinjin, okay, which is actually our topic of discussion. Yes, actually, Shonin says here in the hymns of the patriarchs, he says, faith is the one mind. The one mind is the diamond-like mind. The diamond-like mind is the body mind. This mind is given to us by other power. Okay? Then he says, to take refuge with the mind that is single in the Buddha of unhindered light, Amida Buddha, filling the 10 quarters, is, in the words of Vasubandhu, author of the treatise, the mind that aspires to attain Buddhahood. The mind that aspires to attain Buddhahood is the mind to save all sentient beings. So all sentient beings. The mind to save all sentient beings is true and real Shinjin, which is Amida's benefiting of others. And then he also says, true and real Shinjin faith is the aspiration for Buddhahood. The aspiration for Buddhahood is the aspiration to save all sentient beings. The aspiration to save all sentient beings is the mind that grasps sentient beings and brings them to birth in the pure land of happiness. Yes, beautiful. Yes, it says here that once you entrust yourself to Amida Buddha, then Amida Buddha enters your heart, enters your mind stream, and he is like planting a seed that comes from Amida Buddha himself. And once this light has entered in your mind and you truly entrust yourself to Amida Buddha, we cannot say that this faith comes from us. It comes from Amida Buddha himself, okay? And so, since this comes from Amida Buddha himself, and the effect of this Shinjin is to be born in the Pure Land, and the effect of being born in the Pure Land is to help all sentient beings, then Shinjin already contains the body-mind. It contains the body-mind of Amida Buddha. And since we are relying on the body-mind of Amida Buddha, we are relying not on our vows, yes, but on the vow of the primal vow of Amida Buddha, then the consequence of this is that we go to the Pure Land and then we return to this world as enlightened bodhisattvas or Buddhas in order for us to help all sentient beings in the 10 directions and bring them to enlightenment as well, fulfilling thus the Mahayana vows. So Shinjin already contains everything that we need. It contains the necessary merits to go to the Pure Land and to attain enlightenment there that comes from Amida Buddha. And it also contains the body mind, because the effect of being born in the Pure Land is to attain Buddhahood. Okay? So already the Shinjin, as Master Shinran says, contains the body mind. I don't know.
Yes,
maybe
and also as you mentioned the merit transference. In the moment when you entrust to Amida Buddha, you receive the merits of Amida Buddha, which are of two types: merit of going forth to attain enlightenment in the Pure Land, and then coming back to help all beings. So we fulfill this body mind of the Mahayana through faith in Amida Buddha, not through our self-power. Yes.
Yes, we rely. I wanted just to mention, like a quick detail, is that when you hear of Tibetan Buddhists or Mahayana Buddhists in general, you see that they have very lofty aspirations. I rely on my vow to say sentient beings, and that is true in the case of maybe people who are really honest about them. But for the vast majority, when they say these things, that are very much the words of the great masters of the past, and you say it through the mouth of someone who cannot even keep the precepts, then these words are false. These words are just like a pipe dream, or like somebody trying to imitate somebody they cannot imitate. Okay, they don't have the virtues to say something like that. In our case, we don't rely on our personal vows. We rely on the vow of Amida Buddha. Yes, this is the big difference.
As Master Shantao says, awake your body mind to Amida's compassion. That is, aspire to yours and other beings' liberation by relying on the compassion and the power of Amida Buddha, or his primal vow.
Yes. Yes, and this is the beautiful thing as Jodo Shinshu practitioners, is that every time we encourage others to say Amida Buddha's name, we know it is effective because of Amida Buddha. We know it is effective because of him. And so it's beautiful, because if you are trying to help others through your own wisdom and your own compassion, then you better have transcendental wisdom and transcendental compassion. In our case, we have just received a miraculous medicine, which is the primal vow, and we are just delivering it to people. It does not belong to us. Okay, it belongs to Amida. Okay, so that is why it's so beautiful. You go to the street and you caress a dog or a cat, Namo Amida Bu. Yes, it is very powerful. Yes, because it comes from Amida Buddha himself. You do a liturgy, Namo Amida Bu. You are not dedicating any merits. We don't have any merits of our own. Yes, the only thing is that we are like mirrors. as Yosho Sensei says, or like an empty flute. Yes, an Amida Buddha is using us to spread the primal vow.
The name of Amida is meritorious.
Yes.
Amida's name contains all the infinite merits of Amida, all Buddhas, all practices. So that's why it's good, even if those beings don't entrust to Amida Buddha at that moment or can't understand about Amida Buddha, at least if they come in contact with the name of Amida, that's good for them. That is a seed planted in their mind stream. Sooner or later, that will manifest in an open state of mind towards Amida Buddha. Yes.
Yes, indeed. So actually, Shinjin contains is everything. So this is the great teaching of the primal vow according to Shinran, is that Shinjin is literally everything. In Shinjin, all good things come from Shinjin because it comes from Amida Buddha himself. Okay.
Yes.